I didn't
We
know
live?
what got with it.
Are we late?
And I
Whoop,
also
and that's
said
for,
extending
oh, that's
the road to Bree.
We are calling the meeting to order. The mayor is out with a health issue, so he will not be here today. So the first order of business needs to be to elect a president pro tem for this meeting.
Make a motion.
I move that Ken Saunders be our mayor pro
Second.
tem.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Motion is carried. Pro temp Mayor Saunders?
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it was legal at all.
Why not?
No, but
okay.
Hope the rest of the meeting goes again.
yeah.
Good point, Jess.
You've already called the meeting to order.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I only had an hour and a half's notice, so the first thing is the invocation and pledge of allegiance, and Councilmember Vapurzian has offered to do that for us.
Heavenly Father, we love you and we thank you for your blessings and your goodness to us. Our thoughts are with the mayor this evening and his health, Father, that you would strengthen and bless him. Our thoughts are with tomorrow being Election Day. Thank you for the opportunity we have to live in a nation that allows us to do that. And for those who have fought for those freedoms, we're so grateful. And we know that even here in our city, after tomorrow evening, we'll be looking to things in the near future that will be changing. And we want your will to be done in that. And we ask for that, not just here locally, but on a national level. Lord, our prayers and our thoughts are with our first responders here and abroad, and with our military men and women here and on foreign soil, protecting our rights so that we could do something like this, so that we could go to the polls and vote. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for Councilmember Saunders and his willingness to take this position this evening. And I pray that you would bless him and give him wisdom and help us to see things as you would see them. And we'll be thankful for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have any cards.
City Attorney.
Okay, the next order of business is special guests and announcements. We have none of those tonight. We have no, we need to approve the minutes for the October the 15th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the October the 15th City Council meeting. Is there any discussion on this issue? Councilmember Vapurzian.
Just real quick, because what I did was out of order. I think City Clerk Timmons is second in charge, is she not?
Do what now?
I think, I just wanted to make sure that what we're doing here is okay because of what I did.
Making a motion.
Yeah,
We should be okay as long as the city clerk got the motion down.
okay. I apologize. You're second and
I'm aware, but it's fine.
okay.
I consulted with legal, so we're good.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you.
Okay.
No discussion.
Is there any discussion on the minutes from our last meeting? Then I would accept a motion to approve.
I made
Oh,
a motion. and
I'm
second.
sorry, you're right. Okay, this is not a roll call vote, so all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. The review's approved. I mean, the minutes are approved. Next item is a financial statement review. We have that the second meeting of each month, so we'll have that at our next meeting. We have department reports at the first meeting often. The first that we have listed here for a department report is the police. We have Chief Sam Williams here with us. Chief?
What do y'all want to talk about? I seriously, I am prepared to discuss as much as I can the homicide that's still under investigation, and also the events of Saturday. If anybody wants to
Like to hear both.
know what that is, okay.
Yes.
Our homicide investigation, we are, as the good public information officer always says, we're continuing the investigation. And that's what we're doing, honestly. There's not a lot I can say. There's not a lot I'm going to hide from you. It's a homicide investigation where we didn't have any clear suspects to start with, and we're starting from ground zero, and we're doing what we're doing. Y'all will be probably the second group of people other than law enforcement to know when we are looking specifically for somebody or something. And I hope that's coming. Without being offended, people have asked me if we have enough help, and the answer to that is absolutely. I have been asked if we are getting any help from outside agencies, and the answer to that question is absolutely. The Little Rock Crime Scene Search Unit people, we called them out that night. They've done an amazing job. The FBI, and not just because the victim's wife worked for the FBI, but because they are an assisting agency. They have been tremendous help. It's like any complicated, hard investigation. You'll spend 3 days following a lead, and the lead will fall apart, and it's frustrating, but it's what we do. And I have told a number of people, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart, that if hard work and dedication solves this case, and I believe it will, that we'll solve it. Lieutenant Dustin Ivey is the lead investigator. I don't know if he knows what his family looks like anymore. He is the kind of guy I'm having to tell him to go home, spend time with his family, come back and put fresh eyes on it. Captain Sackhoff is our detective captain, and he's been an incredible support guy. Sergeant Shannon Jumpaletti has been there every step of the way. We have just now freed up one detective to work the regular cases, the day-to-day kind of thing that comes in. Most of us, them, have been running this case full time, and they still are, several of them. They're working hard, and it is frustrating, and we were left with a crime scene, quite frankly, that left nothing. We just didn't have anything to go on, so we're starting from scratch. I've heard as many motives as y'all's had. And if you got a motive, give it to me, because it's just as good as the other 2,000 we've heard. We don't know. We don't know. That's part of the investigation. We'll find that out. And the person that, or people that did it, we don't know why yet, but we'll find out. We'll solve this thing. People that say, well, we don't have any murders in Maumelle, so y'all aren't good at it. I don't even know how to take that. Thanks, but kiss my foot. I don't know, you know. So I don't know. This is, and fortunately, we don't have a lot of murders, but also fortunately, y'all got a police department that knows what it's doing. We know what we're good at and what we need help at, and when we need help, we call for it. And when we're good at it, we do it. So I think you ought to be proud of your police department. I think that there will be, and I don't know when, there'll be an awards banquet where we'll be slinging out awards for this thing. We really will. There's people just busting, chomping at the bit to solve this, and I think that's how you solve things. I don't think you solve things by sitting around and hoping it comes to you, even though sometimes that's how these things will shake down. That call, that Facebook post, somebody will finally say, hey, well, check this out. So we will. Any questions on that? And I'll be happy to answer what I can. I really am. We're not hiding anything. We're not. I've had people on, and it happens, but people go, well, why don't you put the good pictures of the car on your Facebook post? Because I've got them, I just don't want y'all to see them. That's, I get it. But this isn't Crime Bluff. Dearly hate that. I'm tired of being called Crime Bluff. I'm tired of asking what's going on in Maumelle. I'm thinking about moving back to Little Rock. That makes me cringe. I had a woman today, I'll tell it real quick, called, and her She's letting her under 21-year-old daughter, I can't tell her without laughing, think about letting them move to Maumelle, but she had heard that there's a motorcycle gang in Maumelle. I said, well, tell me what you heard. Well, they're a motorcycle gang. And I said, well, tell me what you heard. And she said, motorcycle gang. I said, well, tell me what you heard. I said, you didn't hear motorcycle gang. You heard something. Well, I heard they got guns. I said, it's America. And finally I said, ma'am, where do you live? She said, Little Rock. I said, no, ma'am, you got the motorcycle gangs. We don't. She said, well, I heard something about the Banditos. I said, yes, ma'am, that's a Little Rock gang. So we're in good shape. Your police department's in good shape, and your city's in good shape, and we're trying. But I think maybe ever since there were two people on this planet, something had the potential to go wrong, and it was our day. It was our day. Fortunately, we don't have a 7-person homicide squad working homicides all the time because we don't need them. So we're trying.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Saturday.
What about Saturday?
Saturday is what we like to refer to in the business as a fiasco.
Crazy. Drill. What's the drill?
Drill. It was a great drill. I was on the 5th hole at Country Club, Arkansas, in case anybody wants to know where I was. We had a deputy report to his communications section that he was under fire. Please understand that in the heat of the moment, we don't interpret everything exactly like it is. That's why you have an investigation. That's why you have a cooling off period. That's why you have step-asides and all of those things. But we had a deputy who reported that he was under fire, had approximately 15 shots fired at him. There was a car chase where 2 of the occupants of the vehicle had gotten away. We did an investigation because that's what we do. Here's the bottom line, y'all, and none of it's right. But 3 kids, 17 to 20-ish, had a gun, a revolver, and took it in the woods off of Naylor Road. You know where Millwood is, this Millwood, and then it runs right into Naylor, and there's some woods there. Well, they had parked their car across that Millwood dead end there, gone into those woods and thought it'd be a dandy idea on a pretty Saturday morning to shoot it. And they shot somewhere between 4 and 5 times. At the exact same time that they're shooting his gun, this deputy is cresting that hill there on Millwood. He's topping the hill and thinks 5 shots being fired, as would I want to go home, is what he's thinking. He's thinking he's under fire, so he reports that. The individuals jump back in the car and take off, and then they run into one of the dead ends on Majestic up there. The driver stays, 2 of the guys run off. Our investigation gave us a second suspect, and we went to his home and arrested him. They were shooting the gun. We had a real good independent witness who saw the whole thing, and we were able to piece it together. It in all likelihood was a revolver. The number of shots was exaggerated. I can tell you from experience, you take a police officer, anybody that's been in the fire, immediately after it's over and ask them how many shots were fired, and they will miss it by somewhere about 7 to 1,000%. Because they all sound like it's they're all huge. They were all out of one of those 85 caliber guns, and there's about 75 of them, and every one of them whizzed right by this ear right here, every one of them. So we get that, but we put it together. We pieced it together. We've arrested 2 people. The county may arrest a 3rd. I'm again going back on Facebook. I'm getting a little tired. Well, why aren't y'all saying anything about the 3rd? It's not our investigation. This is a Pulaski County Sheriff's Office investigation, and whatever information they have, they'll release. So they released everything Saturday, except for what I released Saturday night, so people would quit accusing us of hiding things from them. We're not hiding anything. It's not our investigation. But we arrested 2 of them. One was a convicted felon. Like I said, nothing's right here. So he was charged with felon in possession of a firearm and fleeing. The young man, the 17-year-old that was driving the vehicle, was simply charged with fleeing. Now, nobody is going to be charged with assaulting a police officer, attempted capital murder, or anything like that. That is just not what our investigation determined happened. What happened was these knuckleheads were in the woods shooting a gun at the exact same time the deputies crossing the hill, coming over the hill and coming up to him, and he just felt like he was being shot at. I don't blame him. Shoot, I thought I was being shot at the whole time down here at the community center on Halloween when they had that cannon going off. Philip got tired of me ducking under him. So, but that's what happened there. And yes, we did lock down the community center. That was my call because we had a witness who said that the suspect ran through the community center. Well, I'm aware of a couple of things. A, we're voting. B, there's people everywhere. C, there's basketball games. And D, they've got the best camera system around. Philip, if you're here, they got a great camera system. So we make the call. We lock down the community center, and we had the employees who are great at their jobs review the video. We determined that, hey, nobody ran through the community center, and we finally talked to the guy, and he ran around the community center, but it didn't matter that a witness kind of missed it. But all of y'all that were campaigning out there, somebody came running past y'all, and while y'all didn't bother to call us, I'm fixing to get on Facebook and complain about it. But yeah, he said he ran by y'all, and he voted for a couple of y'all while he's in. But no, they ran around the community center, so they never were in the community center. Funny story. We locked down the First United Methodist Church because they were having active shooter training, and for real. And Jim Hansard was teaching it, and he was teaching. He noticed everybody's looking at their phones, and he said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Are you aware we're on lockdown?" And they said, "No." And he said, "Yeah, we are." So, should have called him too, I guess. But we did lock down some places. We, as sometimes happens, we found an open door at Pine Forest, so we had to clear Pine Forest School, even though there was nobody there. And we got an alarm call, strangely enough, at the charter school, which I liked that. I thought, well, he's jumped in that school. But we cleared the charter school, and nothing was found there. But yes, we did have some idiots shooting a gun in the woods. We did not have a deputy assaulted. So that's where we are on that. The rest of the police department, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, the play was great. No, the police department's doing well. We're doing what we do. We're experiencing some auto break-ins that we always will. Taco Bueno was burglarized over the weekend. We'll solve that. It's one of those we may not charge anybody, but we'll solve that. And you can read between the lines there. But y'all ask me questions. I don't know. That's all I got. If you got anything you want to know about, and I'll be happy to talk about it. As Representative Senator going, yeah, I know you'd be happy to talk about it.
We feel safe.
You do.
Well, you should. You should. You got a real good police department. You got a growing police department. You got a lot of young people out there. I always quote the old football coach when we have young officers. The only good thing about young officers is they grow up to be senior officers one day. But no, they're hard charging, and they're out there rolling the streets. So don't speed right now. Don't run any stop signs, especially that one at Millwood and all right across the street from me, whatever that is. They're off of Blue Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got an officer that loves that intersection. So, but no, seriously, we got some young folks. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just real quick, I was just going to ask, have you noticed any increase in crime at all with the third entrance roads being open now?
No, sir, not yet. Now, I'm not saying we won't, but not yet we haven't noticed that. As a matter of fact, our increase in crime, which we predicted, would have been the theft and the criminal mischief that was going on when all that equipment was out there. That's just too tempting for some people, especially on those four-wheelers that could get in and out pretty good. So we saw that coming. But no, sir, we have not seen anything that would cause us alarm yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Chief. I don't see lights on, so.
I hope soon to be coming back to y'all and giving you a report of some of the great things that we have done. So thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is a department report from Parks and Rec. The Director of Parks and Rec is here, Philip Rayburn.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Don't have anything even close to exciting what the police department gets to do, but we just finished up our haunted house and carnival, and we've got a few of the student council, youth council here at the meeting. But the thing about this past haunted house in Carmel was the turnout. Oh my God! It was the largest we've ever had. This is the only event that we do when it rains. It helps us. Everything else, it's always against us. But the youth council works the event. We help build it and promote it. And typically we average about $4,000 over 2 days. This year we did $6,278.50. We had over an hour wait to get into the haunted house, and people were there waiting to do it. I'm sure there may have been some complaining, but we didn't hear any. We had plenty of staff with the youth council, and I went to, actually had to go to Walmart to get more candy because we were running out of candy.
Come to my house.
Yeah, I think we could have collected afterwards, but yeah, we needed it then, so we went and got that. It was crowded, but it seemed to flow pretty good. And then as we got to the end of the night, it all worked out. But it was definitely a busy night, and it will definitely help the youth council. And it was really a family event. Lots of whole families came and did all the events and did the haunted house. So a great event. Seems like I was just here, but this year's gone by really quick. This time of year, typically what we're in the process of doing now is winterizing our irrigation systems. Our outdoor sports are finishing up. Soccer's still going. Baseball was supposed to finish tonight. Of course, it rained out, so they'll have one more night to make up. And then the girls softball finished in the last week. So with those facilities slowing down, everything starts moving into the community center. We got more people start working out, using the track as it gets colder. The youth basketball will all start up. They did tryouts over the weekend, so those leagues will start up. And then as far as our maintenance stuff, this is the time of year we'll start going through our parks looking for tree limbs that need to be trimmed up or dead trees. We got a couple dead trees we'll be taking out at Lake Willowstein. So we'll still be doing as much as we can outside as possible while the weather's good. And we've also started a project. We're redoing the basketball court that is between the Woodbend and Arbor Apartments. We've gotten all the old concrete out. Public Works helped come in and haul it off for us. We've got it formed up, ready for concrete. Now we're just waiting on some dry weather to be able to have the concrete poured and finished, and we'll put the goals up. So that'd be a nice new basketball court for this area, for this ward. Other than that, that's pretty much what we're in the process of doing now, from now to the end of the year. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. All right.
Philip?
Yes, sir.
You periodically go around and refurbish the basketball courts. I know there's several scattered around.
We've started. Last year there was one. It's actually a new one was built by the police department.
Yeah.
And the Lions Club helped with that, I believe, and our department. And then this one, it was actually almost a full-size basketball court.
Wow.
So we actually shrunk it down a little bit. The width is regulation. Length we kind of crunched in just a little bit, so it'd help us on cost. But that one was really in bad shape. Some of our other ones are asphalt, so we may look at like overlaying those. We've got some around the Kings Park area that we may not do concrete on it. We may do asphalt.
Okay.
But,
All right, thanks.
yes, sir. All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Mr. Rayburn. The next item is I need a procedural motion to read all ordinances and resolutions by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this issue? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is approved. Next item, we have one item of unfinished business. Madam City Clerk, could you read that by title only?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 962, an ordinance to establish standards for small wireless facilities in the City of Maumelle, Arkansas, and for other purposes.
Thank you. This is the second reading, so no action is required. Do we have any discussion on this issue?
Is it-
Okay. So she wants to talk. Okay. Okay, we have Melinda Fable here, and I believe she would like to speak to you about the small wireless facilities or the antennas.
Hi, thank you. Yes, I'm Melinda Fable with AT&T. I actually was not prepared to speak, but I had sent, did you get it, Caleb, a copy?
Photographs here?
Yes. So let me just briefly tell you what that is. Apparently someone, maybe more than one of y'all, asked for what a picture of it would look like. Was that you, sir? And I know you're concerned because you have underground facilities here. So it's a brand-new technology. I mean, this particular pole is. And so they did not have an actual picture. So what they did is they took the picture of the area where one of the ones is proposed to be set, and then they inserted a simulated picture of the actual tower. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you see it on there? It's
Yeah.
really hard to find, I thought, but
Well, I was just thinking, I don't remember that pole being there.
that's right, that's right. So that was the best we could do because the manufacturer didn't have an actual picture of it yet because we've not used this anywhere. But we felt like this was something that we hope would be a good thing for you, you know, that it would be acceptable. So I'm happy to answer any questions about it.
Okay, do we have any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, I wasn't at the last meeting,
Okay.
and I wasn't able to see the video that they showed, and I didn't hear some of the questions that were asked.
Okay.
And so, pardon me if I asked some of the same ones. I was gonna ask, do the antennas make any noise, or is there any buzzing or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of, but I will ask that question and find out for you. And I can also send you a copy of the videos if you'd like for me to.
Email, you mean?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd be happy
Yes.
to give you my,
Okay. And I'll ask about noise. I don't believe there's anything that would be a nuisance at all.
all right.
No.
The other question I had was for the city attorney here. I wanted to understand some of the contract language. Is this our contract or is this AT&T's?
This is, well, it's not a contract. It's an ordinance.
Oh, that's
So
right. We're
it's a little bit,
allowing them to.
exactly. So this is an ordinance that would apply to whomever was applying to put in small cells.
Okay.
This was a hybrid of several different cities' ordinances combined with some of the discussions that staff had on the issue.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a hybrid.
Now, let me ask you about section 10. It's labeled review, and it has some interesting language. I was just curious if this, what I was looking for in the ordinance here is the ability, in case there's something we don't like how this is going after 3 or 4 years, to kind of revisit this and see if we want to keep going forward. And does section 10 give us that ability? It says, city may at its sole discretion will require the applicant to review the terms and conditions, blah, blah, blah. In other words, once we do this ordinance, are we kind of subject to whatever these entities that come in, or can we, if it turns out we need 1,000 of these cell towers and we don't really want that, can we put a stop to it?
The city could, well, there's multiple layers there. The city can amend its ordinance at any time, but if we're talking about a particular small cell location that has been installed and is operating, that is pretty much there. I did add a provision based on, I've sat through some phone conferences with other city attorneys in the central Arkansas, as this is not just affecting Maumelle. And one of the provisions that someone had recommended is some sort of technology review after 6 years. So if they put a small cell in, but then in 6 years, technology is such that it would allow something the size of this gavel to accomplish the same thing, then we'd look at sort of forcing compliance with that 6 years down the road, is what subsection B is about there. Then as far as any leases, small cells, this kind of hits on two different types of small cells. Some where they're locating the cell technology, co-locating it on an existing line. Now, we don't have city-owned above-ground power poles. We have very, very, very few above-ground city-owned street lights. So there's a very limited number of opportunities for co-location on city poles. Subsection A deals with the re-review of an agreement where they've co-located their cell tower on a city structure.
Okay.
So I guess to answer your question as concisely as possible, it is designed for some level of review after the fact.
Okay.
Aren't the permits limited to 10 at a time? 5 initially and then an addition of 5?
I want to say, yes, 5 sites per application, which we believe would more than cover the initial intended locations.
If I remember right, when I was reviewing the application part, it almost says we shall approve their applications, so.
There is a timeline that says that if we don't respond in a certain amount of time, that it is essentially an effective approval. Is that what you're asking about?
I'm just saying, can we turn down an application? Can we just say we don't want to see
Well,
anymore?
Yes, but under very set criteria. So I also passed out, the Municipal League has been getting a lot of questions. In the September issue of City and Town, they posted a brief little article about small cells. I copied that and passed it out to everyone just in case anyone missed it. But we don't have the ability to simply decide who gets to put what where. It is federally regulated heavily. And so we have some sort of zoning discretions and maybe some aesthetics concerns that we can deal with. But in essence, if it meets what we say it has to meet, then it shall be approved, right? And what it has to meet is what is in the ordinance. The criteria that they have to meet is in the ordinance.
Okay. It's sounds like a long-range deal, and there's a lot of changing going on, so that was kind of my concern.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
And anyway, I think that's all I've got. And everybody asked a lot of good questions. That video was pretty good. Thanks.
Okay. Council members, I'm going to have to apologize. I didn't see the order that they came on, but there's lights on here, so I'll just do it alphabetically if that's okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm good.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yeah, I don't have a question.
Okay. Councilmember Holt.
Thank you, ma'am. I am the guilty one. I like this folder here. It seems like, it's not that I have any objection to it. It's a matter of understanding once we get into it. On here, it says the need for density packed together so that they operate in a relay team around obstacles, handling signals from one station to another. That means thousands would have to be placed on streetlights, utility poles, and other city property. San Francisco alone would need 10,000. It is what it is. They can also be quite unattractive. And I haven't had time to go through the whole thing, and I won't try to. It just seems like that it's a good discussion of it, that they're in general. It's like if you're going to do it, understand what it says in here that a city cannot prevent a provider from fulfilling the provisions of the federal license. A city can't use false license. I'm not trying to downgrade it. I'm just saying I'm using the paper, what it says. it's just something for us to understand, and as our city attorney just said, that we don't have the ability to say no. A related issue is the establishment of reasonable application process. In other words, if you need to put it there and the license says you can put it there, you can put it there because whether we like it or not. I mean, it just, it used a phrase in here, again, I'm not trying to overplay this. One thing is clear, there are some battles looming, unquote. So that's all I'm saying is, would you like to sort of walk through that a little bit?
So this was not a packet presented by
I've not
AT&T.
seen that.
No,
yeah.
I didn't know where
Right,
it came from,
right.
and I'm not taking issue. I will accept the fact that we probably need it, and it's probably inevitable. There's almost no, in the day of technology, there's no way to stop it.
Right. I mean, just, keep in mind it's to serve your citizens,
Right.
and also for Maumelle, right now, we're talking about 4 small cells. So the day that we get to, we're not going to get to something like San Francisco,
Right.
And I think the technology component that Caleb mentioned is important because in, was it 6 years you said? I mean, things may be different. Small cells may be smaller, or there may be a whole different technology.
The gentleman that was here with us before had
Yes.
mentioned that he said that he was working with about 15 cities, if
Correct.
I've understood correctly. Does that mean that they have accepted it, they're planning to install it, they're not sure if they're going to install it? Are any of them in action at this point?
Yes. I don't remember the exact number, but about half we do have ordinance with at this time. And we are getting permits from different cities, and we have actually installed some in some cities. And we're working with all the other cities, just like we are with y'all.
It'd be interesting to get to maybe talk with somebody from one of the cities to sort of see how they're progressing with it.
I'm happy to facilitate anything you'd like. There are some in Little Rock already that have been installed.
After the meeting, if I may, I'd like to just give you my card and my email address
Sure.
on there, if you don't mind forwarding something like that to me.
I'd be happy
A
to.
city or two and a name who I
Okay.
talk to. I'm not objecting, I just trying to find out.
Right.
Information.
Okay, Councilmember Williams?
Thank you. I was just wondering, I've got just 2 or 3 questions here. So this is just AT&T. Are there any other wireless companies that are trying to go into these cities and do the same technology?
Yes, and I
And-
don't know if y'all have already been approached by anybody or not, but I know Verizon has talked with other cities.
So if this is the case and Verizon wants to come in or these other companies want to come in, are they going to be using the same poles? I mean, are we going to have this, because we don't have the poles.
That's a good question.
I'm sorry?
So that's a good question.
I mean, are these poles just going to be stacked with small cells and service providers, or how is it going to work? How does that look when you get like this diagram of this one pole and it's got your small cell on it?
Uh-huh.
Someone comes in and wants to stack on that. I mean, can they do that, or is that?
Well,
how does that work?
and again, I haven't seen what y'all are looking at, but for Maumelle, because there aren't any poles, so if
Right.
we were to set a pole like what was in that picture, that would be our pole. So we wouldn't have any other
So these
provider
other
on that.
companies would come in and want to put
Set a
up their
pole right
their
beside it.
additional poles that might not be something we want to just, look at all the time because we're underground for a reason.
Correct.
Well, something to think about, and I do want to tell you that I appreciate you emailing me the answer to my question about the 911 calls, and apparently it is 911 compatible, so as far as public safety goes, they are able to ping calls off of it, which is, I think, I don't want to give him, I think in investigations and things like that, when they're trying to find a lost child or something, they're looking to ping cell phones off for public safety reasons, and she said that these small cells actually do facilitate that. So I
correct.
thank you so much for getting back
welcome.
with me on that.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
I'm just going to ask the council members, I'm kind of, there's some things that bother me, basically what you just said. And some things like that. Is there somebody that's already knows they're not going to vote for this? And if so, could you share that?
Councilmember Mosley, when this first came up in here, you weren't here, but one of the things that I caught out of it is this is a nationwide trend. And what we're doing is this is the first step in moving from 4th generation to 5th generation phones and other equipment. There's a host of equipment out there, laptops and tablets and what have you, that are going to be using these too. So it's almost a necessary move, really. You know?
Okay.
Just some kinks to iron out, I think, and things to think about and research. I just don't want to see a whole lot of unsightly polls.
I'm with you.
I think
But
that
do we
would,
have any control over that? That's the thing. It's because it's so heavily
What I was asking. the
federally
attorney,
regulated.
I think.
Well, so if I may, this is and I pointed out at the end of the last meeting, this is not too dissimilar to what is happening with the sign codes. There's a new technology here that there's new FCC rules rolling out that is I mean it's a book that you're welcome to read, and they're rolling out rules at a pretty incredible pace combined with so here are the recent FCC rules that have just come out governing when some of the stuff that cities can and can't do regarding regulations. And I would anticipate that these rules are not being well received by some cities, and other cities are happy with them. I would anticipate future legislation at the federal level clearing, trying to catch up with technology going forward. And I liken that to the sign task force in that you have this sort of initial movement and then years trying to catch up and develop a full system. So there's a lot of gray areas. I know that, for instance, and we're talking with AT&T right now because they approached us, but there's nothing specific about this ordinance dealing with them. They've just been nice enough to stand in the firing line to describe the technology in a way that we really didn't feel we were best suited to do that. But the idea, I know AT&T's attorney is not thrilled with our ordinance. They would claim that maybe it's a little more restrictive than the rules allow us to be. So there's going to be a little bit of these battles kind of internally. I think we've stood our ground in some areas that and I don't mean to be adversarial, but that they're not thrilled with, and we don't have guidance on that going forward or how courts are going to interpret that. So we're in a murky area. We have a technology that we know people want to use, and we're trying to protect the aesthetics of the city at the same time. So I think everyone's concerns are warranted.
Have you got any opinion on this yourself?
Well, I mean, I gave the version of the contract that I liked. I say contract. That's the version of the ordinance that I like. So obviously, I'm for it. But I imagine there will be laws that change that either give the city more authority or take some away. And so I think it's something that you don't just shelf and stop thinking about. We just keep our finger on the pulse on what's going on and adapt and move as it comes.
Well, thanks for all your research efforts.
thank you, Caleb.
Okay, any other questions? Well, Ms. Fable, thank you very much for coming here and speaking to us, and you're welcome to sit and enjoy the meeting, or you're free to leave if you'd like.
Well, and I would have been here sooner, but it took me over an hour to get here from downtown. It was
It's
kind of
okay.
crazy. But thank y'all, and just know that, we want y'all to be happy with the end result, and I know you understand our need to provide the service to your citizens, and so I appreciate you taking
Thank
such
you.
a good look at it, and hope that we will all end up on the same page.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ms. Fable. Okay, that was our only item for old business. Under new business, our first issue is Resolution 2018-31. Madam City Clerk, would you read that by title only?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled Resolution Number 2018-31, approving the preliminary development plan of Phase 24B, Country Club of Arkansas.
This is a resolution, so we're going to be voting on this tonight. You have in your packet a plat, which I got a magnifying glass and still couldn't tell much about it. It appears that it has something on the order of 42 separate and distinct sites there. I couldn't find any actual numbers. It went through Planning Commission, and Planning Commission voted on it. The vote was 5 for it, 1 was
Absent.
One recused.
1 recused and 1 voted no. So, but the overall was they had a do recommend on this for us. That's about all the information I've got. I've got the same packet you do, so.
Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem, I move that we approve Resolution 2018-31.
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Is there discussion? Councilmember Mosley?
Yes, I attended the Planning Commission meeting along with Ms. Timmons, and there was some discussion by Mr. Neri as to a lot of contingencies involved in.
And I did bring.
You bring all that? Yes. And I was going to ask Mr. Neri if he could elaborate on that again tonight for the council. Planning Commissioner Green may want to. I notice he's in the audience, but if I think the council ought to kind of know what some of the contingencies are before we vote on it. There's some flood. It seemed like some flood related items and stuff like that. Oh, here we go.
Well, I'm with you, Councilmember Mosley. You know me, I always ask him to come to the podium and answer questions and tell us why this guy voted against it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't at the Planning Commission meeting, but.
If we're not comfortable, maybe we can table it until Mr. Neri can be there, but.
And I was kind of surprised to see it come up this time because I
Okay.
thought there was a lot of stipulations that.
Yeah.
We have Mr. Green here from the Planning Commission. Would you like to speak to this, please?
Well, Adrian Green, 15 Choctaw Cove.
Thank you.
Romeo. I don't have that in front of me, but I vaguely remember there were some contingencies that was going to take place, and if it got to a certain point, the questions that were raised would be taken care of by the time it got back to the development, to the approval of the plan. But I know there were some contingencies.
If I remember right, Mr. Neri said that they've got a year to satisfy all these things, and if
Right,
they
yeah,
can't, they got to start
and
over.
if they get that far, all of those things should be taken care of that were listed.
All right, and then, but Mr. Neri indicated there may be a lot of difficulty with them getting all the approvals and things like
Right, and if they don't get all the approvals, then it won't happen.
All
right.
Especially because of the wetlands too. They're
Right.
trying to
Get the jury.
cover up some of the wetlands, which they have to get approval. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I could give a little bit of an overview. So Mazon is the city engineer. There's obviously some drainage issues and detention issues that would have to be addressed. That's pretty standard. But then there's some questions about whether the areas in the jurisdictional waters of the United States, some stuff that they're going to have to work on regarding flood, wetland issues, flood impact. So those approvals are not approvals primarily not coming through the city of Maumelle, but that we were saying, and don't forget, you have to do all this other stuff and you can't go forward with that.
So all of that information was discussed in the contingency part of getting it,
I can't believe it passed.
getting it done, and
How did that happen?
Is there a representative from the, okay. If you would, please come to the podium, give your name and address.
I'm Roland Chagan, 107 Beaver Creek Lane. I haven't attended the Planning Commission meeting. I was Mark Rader in our office, but all I know that we addressed most of the comments or questions at the Planning Commission meeting. And to answer Mr. Mosley's question, but I think we today or tomorrow will be sending in the Clomar application for FEMA for the flood issue, and I think it takes about 60 days or 60 to 90 days to get answer on that. And then from there, we're going to go forward.
I have two lights on. Is there any questions for him?
Might be. I was going to ask City Attorney Norris the question. Maybe it would be deflected.
Do you mind if?
No, that's fine. Whatever you got.
Okay. Councilmember Holt?
I certainly would echo the thought from Alderman or Councilman Mosley. I don't. First time we've seen this, and I trust our Planning Commission completely. They're all expert people. But we've got to look at it, and we don't have enough information, as has been pointed out by Councilmember Timmons, and I would very much plead with the council to consider tabling it until the next meeting. I would like to, as I've done before, I would like to get with Mr. Neary and take a ride out to the site and just look and see and ask questions, and he's extremely good at being able to answer it. And since he's absent tonight, not able to be here, for me, I just could not in clear conscience be able to vote yes, and yet I may be, it may be something we need to proceed with in time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Vapurzian?
My question is for either Mr. Green or yourself or City Attorney Norris. Is this an expedient issue that needs to be voted on now, or can it wait 2 weeks?
From the legal side, there, as far as the city's concerned, there's not anything legally requiring us to do it at this meeting. It can be postponed. I can't speak for the applicant or the project itself.
Right. It's not, I don't think that we're against this. It's that we want to make sure that we have a full understanding. Mr. Green, to your knowledge, is this a matter that has to be done expediently, or could it wait?
I would say it could wait, because they got some work that they had to.
Right. And just because the Clomar F takes 60 days, that's 2 months away from anything. I'd like to make a motion that we table this until we've got some more information on it.
Second.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'd make a recommendation
For a
that we
specific
table
date.
it to a date specific, say the next city council meeting.
That's fine. The next city council meeting in 2 weeks.
I second that.
19th?
Yes, sir.
The 19th.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So that would be the 19th, correct?
Okay. Councilmember Williams?
I was just going to agree. I think that we could postpone this until some of these contingencies are either taken care of or explained. We just need this, I'm very concerned about our wetlands and things of that nature, and this is a huge project. So I think that we do need some more information before we move forward with this. I agree with you, Councilman Vapurzian. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to table this issue. Is there any more discussion on that before we vote?
We also had a motion to pass. So what do we do with that motion?
Oh, we did.
Councilmember Scott.
That's the superior motion is the motion to approve the resolution.
So can I withdraw the motion?
It could be withdrawn, but unless it's withdrawn, it has to be voted on first.
I would withdraw the motion.
In the
We
second?
have to vote first, and then you can
I withdraw
withdraw.
the second also.
Okay.
Okay. So we only have one motion on the table, and that is to table the issue until the 19th of November. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
See you next.
Okay,
meeting.
thank you.
We'll have Mr.
Thank you,
Neary
Mr.
here.
Green.
We'll have to invite Mr. Neary.
Yeah.
The next item of new business is Resolution 2018-32. Do we need,
You want me to read it?
do we need to read this before we, okay.
2018,
Madam City Clerk talked to the mayor about this issue, or this particular item, just a short time ago. And his recommendation, his strong recommendation is that we as city council defer this resolution until the next council meeting. The reason being that there is a possibility that it's going to be something less than 960,000. So we want to give it enough time to see what the final number will be. So, he didn't know exactly how much that was going to be, but he felt like it would probably come in lower to our advantage.
And to strengthen that a little bit, significantly lower,
Okay.
not just a little bit lower.
Councilmember Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I want to make a motion that we table Resolution 2018-32 to our next city council meeting, which is November the 19th.
Second.
19th, sorry.
Did I hear a second? Okay. We have a motion and a second to table this issue until November the 19th meeting. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, the next item on new business is the first reading of Ordinance 963, amending a compensation schedule. Madam City Clerk, would you read it by title only?
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 963, an ordinance amending the compensation schedule for the elected positions of the mayor of the City of Maumelle and for other purposes.
Thank you. This is on first reading, so there's no action required tonight on this. This ordinance basically says, and this came from the salary committee. It was a salary committee recommendation. And it was proposed, and we decided that the vehicle allowance that the mayor receives is $6,500 and his salary is $81,600. If you combine the two, that would give him a total salary of $88,100. Okay? That's what this ordinance is saying. Would you like to speak to this, City Attorney?
I'd be happy to answer any questions if you had any.
There's some discussion as to the legality of the way we're doing it at present time. So one of the goals of this was to try to take that threat away, okay? Another person that was on the committee, it was Councilmember Scott. Would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it was not the intention of the committee to reduce the mayor's salary. We feel that the mayor is fairly compensated, that we are within the range of mayors for our cities. Because of the potential legal issue of having a separate fund for vehicles, we decided to put that money into the salary, making the mayor more eligible for mileage. He's already eligible for mileage, so anything over like 30 miles, the mayor can put in for mileage as well as have his vehicle allowance. There is $750 in the budget to cover mileage, and if we pass this as it is, that would give us an opportunity to look at it for a year and see if that mileage figure changes quite a bit so that we can adjust our budget accordingly. But the whole idea was to keep the mayor whole and yet not suffer the potential ramifications of having something that wasn't entirely legal.
Well said. You're an eloquent speaker. Is there any more oops,
That was her.
you're through. Okay. Any other discussion on this issue? Okay, it'll go to second reading next meeting, next city council meeting. Okay, the next item of new business is Ordinance 964, amending compensation schedule for the city clerk / treasurer / purchaser. Madam City Clerk, would you read that by title only, please?
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 964, an ordinance amending the compensation schedule for the elected position of the City Clerk Treasurer of the City of Maumelle.
Thank you. As I said, this is on first reading. There is no action required tonight on this. Is there any discussion? Oops. Councilmember Scott.
The process for the salary committee, we don't meet every year. The compensation is determined and it goes often several years before any compensation changes are made. Our city clerk treasurer is unique in the state of Arkansas. She has more responsibility than any other person holding that title in any other city that we investigated. So even though we recommended an increase for our city clerk treasurer, my personal hope is that eventually we can really examine that position, have our Mr. Azone, our HR person, really examine that position, and the next time we look at that compensation, possibly compensate for the way our city uses that position instead of sandwiching it in and keeping it just sort of at parity with other communities of similar size. And that's just my opinion, but.
Councilmember Mosley?
Yeah, I may be missing something here. I was just wondering if we've got the right number in section 1. The committee, it looked like recommended 61.8, and we've got in this thing 57.120. Is that right?
For city clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see those numbers.
Are you looking at ordinance 964?
Yes,
Yeah,
I've got,
should have been 61,118. I think it's a misprint.
So do we need to?
Because that's current, 57,120 is current.
Do you see what they're looking at?
Well, the ordinance says, and I don't remember from the meeting, right off the top of my, you got notes, okay. Well, it says in the ordinance that the current salary is $56,000 a year, and she shall be paid an annual salary, if this is approved, of $57,120.
It should have been 66,118.
Okay.
6620?
66,118. That was the recommendation of the committee.
118.
actually shows
Okay.
61.8. Is that what you're looking at?
Is that a substantial change, so it'll stay on first reading?
Yeah,
All right, that's
we
close
can
enough.
make a motion.
Here's what I'm looking at.
And
Okay.
read it.
Yeah, this,
Okay, the city attorney just said that we can, if someone will make a motion that's seconded, we can amend that here.
I make a motion that we amend this, this reading of, this ordinance number 964
I
to
second it.
reflect the correct number.
To amend it, I'm sure he'll want it to be more specific, to amend it such that the new annual salary would be 66,118.
61.
61.
61,
Yeah, we told you wrong.
61 what?
61,118.
Okay, I
61,100.
make a motion that we, we amend the ordinance number 964 to reflect the correct future salary of our city clerk to reflect $61,118.
I second that motion.
Thank you, that was hard.
Well, I tried, Timmy.
Thank you.
No, I'm, it was
Yeah,
an
no,
honest
no,
mistake.
Tina, I was going to bat for you there, girl.
And I abstain.
He's not here. I don't know that this has to go back to first reading.
I think it would have to.
Yeah,
It-
well, I asked him and he just said that
And then
we
he
could make
walked
a
out.
motion.
He's like, figure it out.
Yeah,
We still need to pass the motion, though. We have a second, but we haven't.
We have a
Voted.
motion and a second.
And a recused.
We need to wait for him to come back.
okay. We have a motion and a second to amend this ordinance. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, if you don't mind, I'd like to wait a minute on the city attorney to see if this goes back to first reading.
We're waiting for you, Caleb.
Or what?
Do we need to go back to first read? We had a motion and a second,
Yeah.
and we voted to change this.
Yeah, so like I said, you could just you could read it right now.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, will you read this by title only again?
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 964, an ordinance amending the compensation schedule for the elected position of the City Clerk Treasurer of the City of Maumelle.
Thank you. Any discussion, further discussion on this? This ordinance will be coming up for second reading at the next City Council meeting. Moving on to the next new business item is Ordinance 965, again amending a compensation schedule. Madam City Clerk, will you please read it by title only?
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 965, an ordinance amending the compensation schedule for the elected position of the City Attorney of the City of Maumelle and for other purposes.
Thank you. Again, this is on first reading, so there's no action required at
Let's
this
check
point.
these numbers, though. Marion, are these the correct numbers?
These all look wrong according to my notes.
Ooh, I didn't bring my notes.
What I'm looking at is looked like a finding from the salary committee, and they've got their summaries on the front page here. They actually had on the city clerk salary $61,800. City attorney, they've got $89,250, which would match up to this thing.
Yeah, that's right. That one's right.
So we can move on then.
So, we need to move on?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, any other discussion on this ordinance? Okay, moving right along. The next item is first reading of Ordinance 966, amending a compensation schedule. Madam City Clerk, will you read that by title only, please?
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 966, an ordinance amending the compensation schedule for the elected position of the City Council member of the City of Maumelle and for other purposes.
Thank you. This again is on first reading. Is there any discussion? I know these numbers are correct.
Yeah, those look right.
Okay, if there's no discussion on this, it'll be on second reading at the next meeting. And the last new business item is a first reading of Ordinance 967, amending Ordinance 811. Madam City Clerk, will you read that by title only, please?
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled Ordinance Number 967, an ordinance amending the timeline for establishing the Compensation of Elected Officials Committee and the submission of the committee's recommendation to the City Council and for other purposes.
Thank you. This ordinance was sponsored by Councilmember Mosley. Would you like to introduce this?
I'll do so. It's actually a pretty simple ordinance. Right now, the salary committee meets in August of an even year. This year it lined up to where we're actually deciding this after the filing period, and I thought it would probably be best if we got all that done before a filing period, so candidates would know what the thing pays. So, city attorney didn't object, so we kind of wrote up an ordinance, and all it does is it moves it up earlier in the year.
To January?
instead
Yeah,
of August.
January, and then they're supposed to have their recommendation. We're supposed to act on it by May 1st.
Correct. Okay. Thank you, Councilman Mosley.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion on this issue? Okay, this will be on second reading at the next city council meeting. Moving along, there's mayor's comments. In the packet, I imagine y'all saw that there is a table here that the Arkansas Department of Transportation has provided to the mayor, and it is of various projects that they have discussed and looked at and what have you. Don't ask me to read any of this because I had to get a magnifying glass, it's so tiny. But they have, one of the listed items is Highway 100, Maumelle Boulevard. And the action would be to widen it. Now, that's all I know at this point. I don't know how much. I don't know whether they're talking about another lane or what. But it is one of their vision plan items, so it has not been approved or started yet, but it is in their vision, okay? And again, it shows where it's highlighted in blue that it is not currently a plan, okay? It's just a vision for the future.
Pretty way down the list, too.
Yeah,
And it's $30 million.
yeah.
Their money.
Right.
Well, I know and I'm speaking as a councilman, one of the things that I'm concerned about is I've heard discussions over the years about putting in a third lane and having 6 lanes, but the problem is you're gonna get a terrible bottleneck up there at 430.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no way they're gonna pay enough to widen that bridge. That's big money. So I'm not sure what they're talking about here. The mayor put it in, so. Anybody else have anything on that?
I'll add just real briefly. Scott Bennett had met with me about 2 or 3 years ago, and I mentioned that I'd heard a rumor that there might be some widening eventually. And at the time, he said it's not on the table. He said I'd appreciate it if you didn't mention it. So, but it looks like it has hit their radar here, and so maybe something's going to happen. It may help the people trying to go into downtown Little Rock. If you have an extra lane, they might not get clogged up. They can just shoot on down and get down that way. But yeah, a lot of details to be learned on this. So
I don't know how far out it is or anything. I haven't talked to the mayor about it, and I just wanted you to be aware of it.
thank you.
Okay. His second item, 100 Millwood Circle appraisal. We knew that this has been done because I questioned him about it, but I have no idea how much the appraisal came in for, so he'll have to give you that next time. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Veterans Day ceremony is November the 12th. It says on your sheet 4:30 p.m. Wrong answer. It is 4 o'clock is when we're starting it, okay? So, and I think that was my mistake because I was talking to the mayor earlier about it, and he said, when are you going to start it? And I think it just kind of came out 4:30, and then I tried to call him back to correct it, and he was busy. But it starts at 4 o'clock, okay? Next budget meeting is November the 13th. That's, I guess, a week from tomorrow,
Right.
I believe. Okay, hometown Thanksgiving. Again, Councilmember Scott can help with this.
Or
Or
Councilmember
Timmons.
Timmons.
Or Timmons is actually the big dog
He's
here.
the big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will be doing hometown Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. As usual, it'll again be at the Center on the Lake. We haven't talked about the cost yet, but I think it'll be the same as last year. So
We
far,
did
so
talk-
good.
$10 adults, $5 for kids under 12.
That's great, and we'll be serving from 11 until 1:30?
How much for kids?
11
Yeah.
until 2?
11
Okay, so we're
2
extending
you're
it just a
saying.
little bit then, okay.
And it usually slows down really about 1:30, so
Okay.
if you guys can get in before that, so we can get in and get out. And
We can get it cleaned up.
We already
hour.
have lots of
What's-
door prizes and bingo prizes that have been.
Cakewalks.
We're going to have a cakewalk, so we'll be looking for cakes. We'll be, of course, accepting volunteers.
And Marion's number is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 4540643, or you can, so anybody who wants to volunteer, just let me know. I'm the Secretary of Labor.
Yep.
That's the boss. I'm the
Yep.
Secretary of Labor.
I know. I don't know why I didn't call on you. I knew that.
Because she does.
Timmons has
things
done
with
this for
actions
many
rather
years.
than words.
No, we as a community do this, so
Yeah.
no one gets,
The credit.
no one person gets the credit.
I
Who's the
personally was
cheerleader?
impressed last year.
It was great.
The first one at the new center, senior center, and it was great.
Yeah, and it's a labor of
And they
love.
did-
I
yeah,
mean,
they did the cooking
yeah.
also.
They do
like
the
it.
cooking there,
Yeah.
the cleaning there. We're not
Yes,
having to haul
so much
dishes
easier. Yeah.
around town to get them washed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's great.
It was better than the gymnasium, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I want to add, Pro Tem Saunders, if you don't mind, if anyone knows of a family that can't afford to have a Thanksgiving meal, we will still provide them with the Thanksgiving meal. You just let us know, and we'll make sure that there's enough. It doesn't matter the size, but we'll make sure that everyone has a full belly on that day. So,
And
Thank
we
you,
also
Tina.
allow the police and firemen to come and eat.
To eat for free.
Yep.
thank you.
No, that's good. I'm glad you did that. Any other discussion or comments, questions, concerns? Okay. Okay. I have here Councilmember Timmons for the Planning Commission report.
Okay, the planning commission meeting was on October the 25th. All the commissioners were present, but one, which was Roy Andrews. There was no old business. The Chairman Gershner accused himself because of the items that were coming up. So when we say there was one no vote, that was one recused and one absent
Okay.
for both items. The new business was the proposed preliminary plat for Phase 24B Country Club of Arkansas, which, as I say, passed 5-1, one recused and one absent. The second was the proposed preliminary development plan for Phase 24 Country Club of Arkansas. And that's what came before us that we decided to go over next month. It's not really next month, it's what, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, next meeting.
Next meeting.
Next meeting. The council, let's see, the Commissioner Fisher made a motion to recommend to the Maumelle City Council with a due pass recommendation contingent upon the satisfaction of all staff, city engineer, and commissioner comments for the preliminary plat for Country Club of Arkansas. As I say, that's what we just moved over. In addition to, the Planning Commission took a vote regarding the date of the December Planning Commission, which was December the 20th. And that was about it.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Timmons. Okay, next item, council members' comments. Councilmember Mosley?
Yeah, I'm sorry about this. We set a oversight committee meeting during the planning meeting the other night, and I'm going to have to ask to change it. I'm going to be out of town on the 14th, and I wanted to ask Councilmember Holt and Timmons if you all would be available on the 21st. Just move it back a week. It'll give you another week to rest up from the election.
The 21st,
Yes, ma'am.
The day before Thanksgiving.
That's a Wednesday.
the day before
Day
Thanksgiving?
before, we're
That'd be
gonna,
a no.
Oh, is that the week of Thanksgiving?
it's the day before.
Oh, good Lord.
That's
I won't even be here for that, probably. I swear.
That's why they
I
have those.
swear. How about the 28th? Does the 28th work for you all? That'd be Wednesday. That'd be the
28th is
following
fine
Wednesday.
for me.
Okay. Yeah, we'll shoot for that.
35th?
All right. Thank you very much.
Will this be at 6 o'clock?
Yes. I may need to check with you, make sure it's available, I guess.
In the blue room?
That would be here.
here.
Yes.
Any other council member comments? Okay,
And good
Ms.
luck for everybody who's running. I know everybody's been working hard on this
Just go vote.
election. So,
Just go vote.
yeah, everybody, please, well, most of everybody has voted, you know, which is a good thing. But go vote if you haven't voted, and, you know,
Early enough.
good luck for all involved.
Praise God, it'll be over tomorrow.
Well,
From whom all
it'll
blessings
be ended. I don't know if it'll be over tomorrow.
You know, people that's never ran for an office like this have no idea how much work it is.
No.
And you're really glad it's over, because you just work yourself to death. Okay, Councilmember Mosley?
Yeah, along with what Timmons was saying there, I just want to thank everybody that ran for office. That's a courageous thing to do. You catch a lot of flack from all sides, no matter what, and it's a very humbling experience. And like you said, you're just totally worn out on election night. So, but thanks to everybody for running, giving us a choice. Thanks.
Okay, any other council members' comments? Mr. City Attorney?
Nothing further.
Okay. And Madam City Clerk's comments?
Just reiterating, the Planning Commission meetings for November and December have been moved up 1 week, but the subcommittee meetings will remain the same date. That's it. Thank you.
One other item, and it's listed under the FYI. I am not going to read this. The mayor has a proclamation, and I've done them before, but I always read every sentence because it was being presented to somebody. This is not being presented to any particular individual. It's just a mayor's proclamation. So I'm not going to read all of this thing, but what it is it's called Small Business Saturday. And Small Business Saturday is now going to be November the 24th this year. And it's actually a way of promoting small businesses, encouraging people to use small businesses and support them, because it's part of the lifeblood of our country. And this is also a national movement too, I've understood. So I just wanted you to be aware that the mayor does have a proclamation for this. Again, November 24th, 2018. Sales tax report. We've already talked about voting tomorrow. City offices are going to be closed November the 12th. And finally, Councilmember Williams is on for the next Planning Commission. Woohoo. Woohoo. Yeah. Okay. I would be willing to accept a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I got a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion on that issue? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Adjourn.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, really. Thank you.
Well, it was
for
a
doing
long